Good morning, Desert Sands Unified School District. This is Sean Webb, your Director of Community Engagement. We're here on our platform as well as on the platform with CoachellaValley.com and Craig Campbell. Craig, how you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, Coachella Valley. I'm doing excellent. Thank you to everybody that's tuning in all over the place. Sean's done such a great job of syndicating this morning's classroom conversations. You know why? Because it's such an important day today, Sean. Right, Mary? What are we doing today?
Well, today we're going to watch these young people talk about doing their cross country. I actually had the pleasure of having some of those students in my culinary program years ago, which was really fun because they would come in and carb up and go out for a run after their senior class.
Tomorrow, historical moment, because first time in the Coachella Valley, 2021, really in such a long time, we have high school sports actually live, and the competition is going to be real starting tomorrow. That's what we're doing here this morning.
That's right. And before we get into that, Craig, I want to go ahead and just thank the Desert Sands Educational Foundation for providing this platform for us to provide this information, classroom conversations exactly to engage the Desert Sands Educational Foundation community. And thank you for doing that. But I want to read their mission statement. The Desert Sands Educational Foundation secures funding and awards money to provide supplemental resources that enrich and enhance student learning in Desert Sands Unified School District. They do this in partnership with public and private sectors. Desert Sands Educational Foundation financially supports creative and innovative programs that enrich and enhance the educational experience in the academics, the arts, the extracurricular activities that engage all students and staff in DSUSD. And we do this with our partners. And as I've been sharing, I'll bring back Craig and Mary here, which is pretty awesome. Is whenever we have great information to share, we've got to thank our partnership with CoachellaValley.com and allowing us to be on their platform too. So Craig, thank you for allowing Mary and I to engage with your followers and engage with people, not just in the Coachella Valley, but the people of the world. So thank you for that.
Well, you know what? I'm so excited about things that are happening in the Coachella Valley. I've been reporting on it since 2013 specifically. Okay. And I'm very excited to be with you guys. We've been doing this a couple of times. Desert Sands been very, very good to me, very kind. You guys have been very, I'm going to be able to see probably tomorrow the beginning as media. And that is such a privilege to be a part of the community in that way and to be able to really share and show all these things to so many people that are interested. Almost 250,000 social fans just on Facebook alone in Coachella Valley. So very important moment. I thank you guys for having me out here.
We are glad to have you.
Thanks, Mary.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'll share here is that I want to highlight a couple other things before we bring in our athletic directors from Indio High School and from Shadow Hills High School to share more about the event. And we actually have one of the coaches from the teams too. But I want to go ahead and share a little bit more of what's going on in the district here. As everybody's aware, we've gotten some new spots to watch classroom conversations. And once again, thanks, Craig, for us to be able to produce this show there. But I want to thank our friends over at Palm Desert High School. We're streaming on their page this morning. Gerald Ford Elementary and their PTO page. Gerald Ford Elementary. Thank you very much. I know that they have a strong PTO that follows their page as well. And then we want to thank our friends over at the foundation has us streaming, and then we're also streaming on the Twitter page of the foundation. So a lot of different spots where you can see classroom conversations. But we have an event coming up with the African American Parent Advisory Committee. That's going to be taking place on February 26th. I want to make sure that everybody's aware about that. That's going to be taking place at 5 p.m. Chef Mary, we're going to actually have Dr. Wilson on with us not next week, but the 23rd to talk about that event and so forth. So it'll be nice to connect with him.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And then I want to make sure, there's a little highlight for them, as well as if you want to be involved with the African American Parent Advisory Committee, you can go to the website there. This is for, Craig, you want to know about this. This is for the all of the class of 2021. So we've partnered with the Youth Town Hall series, which does the Desert Town Hall traditionally, and Dr. Quentin Egson, who's the CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Coachella Valley, is going to have a conversation with our students on the 18th of February called Taking It to the Next Level. And I'm hoping that we can have a lot of our students participate and sign up for this. As I said, this is primarily for the class of 2021. I just went ahead and I put the link to sign up for the webinar in the comments, so please go ahead and sign up. Like I said, class of 2021, come in. We invite you to go ahead and join us for that.
I know. I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, and this is my last one here that I got, Craig. We're always asking our families to participate in our surveys. We have the LCAP survey that's going on. This is where we go ahead and get information from our families so we can directly make an impact with the school and how we spend our funds and so forth. So that's going on until February 19th. That's going on until February 19th. But that's what I got going on. I do want to bring up the fact. It's kind of cool. I'm going to bring up the websites here. Geez. Look at this. I'm having some issues here. You got to love technology.
Hey,
right?
while you're doing that, I just wanted to say real quickly, since we are talking about things that are happening, not only as sports opening up in high school starting tomorrow with cross country between Indio and Shadow Hills are competing. That's very, very exciting. Some news. Desert X actually did give their dates. So Desert X is coming back to the Coachella Valley. Very exciting, I think, as well. And it's not school related, but of course, so much of that art and all the things that they're doing seen by many, many students throughout the Coachella Valley. On the flip side, the Dr. George car show, classic car show, 18th, one of the largest in Southern California, is actually being canceled or postponed all the way until February next year. So a little bit of news in the making overnight. And so I just thought I'd share that. But I see you got the page up now.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you, one of the partnerships that we have is one of the artists that's being featured in Desert X is contacted our elementary schools. And actually, was at Johnson Elementary School yesterday talking to Mr. Fisher, and his students are participating with this project. And this project is getting artwork. Mary, you'll love this. They're getting artwork from hundreds of thousands of students from around the world.
Oh, wow. That's
They're
awesome.
sending them the art, and then they're sending it back, and they're going to be having it on display. And I'm just excited to have Desert Sands to be part of that.
Well, I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah, definitely exciting. But I also want to, so Craig, I showed your website there, and I thought it was pretty awesome to say, this is pretty cool. We're the highlight there, the cross country event. But not only on CoachellaValley.com, the cross country event is being covered by KESQ,
Nice,
as well as KMIR, and on the Desert Sun. So
big news.
It's a pretty big event here for the Coachella Valley. This is as was it Chad Powers is reporting that this is the first contest in 11 months.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
First contest in 11 months. For
It really is unbelievable. I had mentioned before that 33 states have already had high school sports, so we're just now kind of coming along, and it's so important really because a lot of the country is actually playing and preparing, for college and everything. So I'm so excited. I can't even imagine the atmosphere that is on the campus for the coaches, athletic directors, the athletes themselves. It's got to be a tremendous sense, and it means that depending on how these things go, spectators at some point might be coming back, and other sports as well, because we have golf, tennis, and other things that are allowed. I think currently under the current environment that we're in. I think those have also been released to be able to go and be seen. So starting tomorrow, Coachella Valley's first sporting event in high school for 11 months. Wow.
And Craig, I see that up here a lot because everybody is skiing and snowboarding and tubing, and a lot of people with little kids. And the atmosphere is pretty electric. They're all laughing, they're eating, they're happy, they're smiling, they're really adhering to all of the protocol that the resort, requires. So I can see with this event tomorrow, it's like a little spark to be out and exercise, get that adrenaline going.
And country, cross country is such a demanding sport.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of workout. You're spending a lot of time getting yourself prepared and in shape mentally and otherwise. And I think not to be able to compete or to put that somehow out there would just be not the same. So here they are. They've been working really hard, and I'm sure they've continued training, on their own. You have to in that sport. And here tomorrow, they're going to be able to see competitively how they're doing and how they feel. And I think that's just another level.
I agree. I think the best people to talk to about this is to bring on the athletic directors. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on person I've known since I moved to the desert. I coached football against this individual for many years. Coach Ron Shipley, who's at Indio High School. Morning, Coach Shipley. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Excellent, excellent. And also, I want to bring on the athletic director at Shadow Hills High School, who, as I was sharing with Chef Mary, and you'll love the history, Craig, when I was first an AP at Page Middle School, Mike was one of the PE teachers there, so I've known him a long time. Good morning, Mike. How you doing? You are muted, so make sure you unmute that there.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Sean.
Excellent, excellent. So Craig was just kind of talking about this is the first event in 11 months that we're having for sports. Maybe Coach Shipley, since you're the visiting team, maybe you could talk a little bit about what's going on with the event, and then we'll wrap up with Coach Walsh with the home team.
Well, Indio's actually the host team. The event's going to be at Indio High School.
I thought it was at Shadow Hills. I am so sorry. Jeez, I messed that up. Sorry about that.
Hey, I'm glad you told me because Sean has me going over to Shadow Hills to cover it. I don't know what that's all about. You know, we had this talk about his allegiance maybe to one school or another. It's kind of coming out there, Sean.
Told you to watch out for him, Craig.
All right, I'll help you out, coaches. I'll make sure it's a fair race.
All right. Appreciate that.
Well, Coach Shipley, since we started with you, why don't you share a little bit of details about what's going on?
You know, it's just exciting. Like you said, it's been since last March, I believe, since we've had high school competition here in the Valley, and I think it's just great for the kids to get them a little bit of normalcy. You know, it's been a long road of some conditioning and like you said, with cross country, there's a lot of training that goes involved in cross country. For their to compete in their races. So we're excited for the kids. Unfortunately, we can't. Have that full feeling because kids aren't in school, but they will be there tomorrow to compete, and it's going to be exciting for them to have that opportunity. Unfortunately, we can't have fans, at this point in time, so there's just going to be administration, some school personnel to run the event and some media there, so it can be shared. But we're very excited. And like I said, I'm just more excited for the kids that it's been a long road for them, and they love sports, they love to compete, and it's just going to give them that opportunity to have this event. So we're just excited for them.
Coach, I was wondering how many meets are there going to be for this particular season?
It's hard to tell right now because with cross country, we need to finish the cross country season by I think it's March 27th. So we're going to try to get them a few meets in before that time, and then actually we're going to move right into track. So most of those cross country kids also run track and field, so they're going to go right from the cross country season where normally they have the winter season as a break. Now they're going to go right into the track and field season.
So will there be a CIF type championship or those type of culminations this year?
No, CIF they canceled all the fall championships. So, which gave us more time to have league meets and finish league competition. So the fall championships will not take place, but hopefully all the spring sports will continue with the CIF championships.
Okay, and I got a Coach Walsh. I have a question for you. Maybe if you could share a little bit more about. I know that kids aren't on campus, but maybe you could share a little bit. What has practice looked like for some of these students? Are they doing it on their own? They come to what does it look like?
Well, starting off, it's a fantastic question, Sean. They were training on their own before we were able to bring them back on for conditioning.
Okay.
For Shadow Hills, we're 10 weeks into that conditioning cycle for our cross-country athletes. So we just moved into phase 2, which allows us for the competition and allows us a little bit more time that we can now condition on campus for an hour and a half, which is much more beneficial, certainly for those cross-country athletes, just to get that time in, as well as our cohorts that we can bring on are a little bit bigger. We went up to 15 for the cohorts. So it's just that progression of moving forward through the phases and then hopefully returning to competition for all of our sports top down.
Okay, excellent. Now, so Chef Mary, you'll love this. I talked to Mary Perry yesterday while she was waiting for her grandson for practice, and I believe he's in water polo. Maybe Coach Shipley or Coach Walsh, if you could share a little bit what's going on with like some of the other sports. I know we're doing cross country. What are going on with some of the other sports? She mentioned they were in the pool. I thought that was kind of exciting.
Yeah, a lot of the other sports are also doing conditioning, but again with limitations and guidelines. The scrimmaging type of stuff is not allowed right now. So basically, just getting in shape, getting ready for the seasons to actually start. So,
okay, I got you. Chef Mary, do you have any questions for the athletic directors about the upcoming event and so forth?
Well, I do have this one question that runs back to my culinary background. When the La Quinta football team was in season, we fed them before every game, and we carved them up with lots of good food and salads and whatever. And they came in like an hour before they went to a practice or a game. So how do your students get ready as far as nutrition? Getting ready for a meet or a run. I know our football players ate us through house and home, but I'm wondering if that's the same thing with your cross-country people.
That's why you keep that refrigerator real close to you there, Mary. I see behind you to make sure it doesn't get raided.
It is. I don't want anybody in there.
Actually, I think the perfect person to answer this question is actually backstage. And I told him that we're going to bring him on around 9:15. And that's one of our coaches, Coach DeTamble. And maybe, Coach, if you could entertain that question for Chef Mary. What do you recommend your runners before the cross-country meets?
Yeah, Chef Mary, first of all, you got the best name on social media right now. It's great. Love it. That's actually it's a perfect question, though, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Just got to remind the kids, hey, you got to carb up. Most of the time during the season when we could actually get together and not worry about all this kind of stuff, we would have a spaghetti lunch or spaghetti dinner together as a team, kind of team bonding and just making sure they're eating the right things. But this year, obviously, we can't do that. So we're just going to remind them to carb up, make sure they eat well and sleep well and just be ready to roll tomorrow.
Hey, Coach, I had a quick question for you. Was curious, how long is this course going to be, and where does it actually go to? I know it starts at Indio, I believe, and how does the cross country actually work?
Well, so typically our races are 3 miles, but since a lot of these kids are literally starting this week, some parents weren't allowing them to come out until they knew there was going to be a season. So I've got a few new kids this week. I know Coach Gonzalez at Indio got a few new kids as well who are getting cleared and coming out. But this race is going to be 2 miles. Most cross-country athletes could at least do that with a little bit of training. We had a time trial at our campus on Tuesday, and we're ready to go. Indio, I haven't seen Indio's course yet because it's going to be at Indio. I know you guys got told it was going to be at Shadow. It was at Shadow Hills last year.
Sorry, guys, my fault.
Yeah. But this year we'll be at Indio, so we're kind of swapping places from last year. I know their course is very similar to us. It is a campus course, starts and finishes on the track, goes around their campus. So it's a flat course, 2 miles, and should be fun.
Now, I have a quick question. I know that traditionally with CIF, and we talked about how they're not going to have CIF finals and so forth. Maybe this is more for one of the athletic directors. I know that traditionally you said your matches are 3 miles. Due to us not having a CIF finals and so forth, does that give us some leeway in saying we're going to run a 2-mile match rather than a 3-mile match? Coach Walsh or Coach Shipley?
Yeah, yes, it does, especially in the scenario we're in right now. It's the first event of in 11 months. We don't want we want to make sure everybody's safe and so we got a simple 2-mile loop. It's actually 1-mile loop that they're going to do twice. So I think it's just a good friendly competition. And hopefully kids have a lot of fun.
Did you say friendly competition?
Well,
very competitive. I know it will be, and I'm sure it will be very friendly.
Crosstown rival.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's going to be a little bit of competition out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's what sports are all about.
I think Sean.
I've worked with Coach DeTamble for a long time, and there's not much friendly is going to go on.
So, Mary and Craig, to give you a little history here. So, Coach Shipley, up until this year, is it Coach Shipley? You were over at Shadow Hills High School, and he opened that school as their athletic director. And then he just moved over to Indio High School. So he's got a lot of history between the two school sites now.
Yes,
Gosh, how do you work that out? How do you work that out in your heart?
Well, I'm a Raja now. That's how I work it out.
I'll say the biggest thing that I ever dealt with, Coach, me having switched school sites after a couple of years, is finding that new wardrobe the next year. You have no shirts, you have no sweaters. It was always tough to come up with that new wardrobe.
It was amazing how many bags of purple I let go.
Yeah.
Hey, we were looking at some of the shirts here. I didn't mean to necessarily wear purple, but obviously I'm wearing a little bit of spirit there for you guys. I think Sean was going to slip on a red shirt real quick.
Oh, definitely. So I was just going to say, I know that you guys are busy. We'll start off with you, Coach Walsh. Is there anything that you'd like to say to our athletes or people that are watching about what's coming up for the upcoming season and so forth?
Well, we couldn't be more excited for our students. Coach DeTambo, when it was officially announced, held a Zoom with his team, and when it was announced, you could feel their energy just through the screen. And then that next day at practice, the energy level was just off the charts. The kids were so excited that they had that competition on the horizon. They knew they were going to get in, that meet against Indio High School. And then, moving forward to see the rest of the competitions that we can get scheduled and on the books for our students. Certainly those seniors that were uncertain, and that's tough on a high school kid, uncertain if they were going to be able to compete their senior year. But we got this one in the books. We're looking forward to the progress that we have made and moving forward what we'll be able to do in the future.
Excellent.
But
Thank you.
I think, Sean, you set us up for a home and home, Indio host and then Shadow host, right?
Sorry about that. Like I said, I misinformation on my end. Sorry about that. Coach Shipley, is there anything you'd like to say to the Indio families that are watching and so forth?
I'm just we're very excited for the kids to give them this opportunity. It was a long process through conditioning, not knowing if competition was going to begin. So a lot of the motivation kind of leaves some of these kids not knowing what the future is. But I think the past week or so, I think we get a lot more motivation, a lot more kids showing up to conditioning, practice, thinking that things are going to start happening. So I think it's just great for those kids that things are on the move and things are looking up and they can enjoy it.
I love it. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for taking the time. Coach DeTambo, we're still got you on here. But I'm going to let Coach Shipley and Coach Walsh go. But thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys. Hey, so Coach, I have a quick question for you about strategy when it comes to cross country. How many people start off in the race? How many from each team? So okay. Women and men, I assume are running tomorrow.
Yeah, great question. It just depends because our sport, we used to have a shirt that said we don't have a bench because everybody runs. If you're on the team, you have your varsity team, which is your top 7. But after that, everybody else that's on the team. So last year I had 62, 61 kids. So you have your varsity team, but everybody else ran JV. And
so what are you going to look? I'm sorry. Yeah, so what's going to look like tomorrow? I totally interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. That's a great segue because last year we had those 60 plus, and because of everything, let's just be honest. A lot of kids gave up hope and just came back and got a job or found a new hobby, started a band, little things. So we lost a lot of kids, and so we're down to about 32. So that's a big drop. But we got 32 kids that want to be there, that have been training, have been doing stuff on their own, and really want to be part of this. So everybody that we have out, I know, wants to be part of this team now. So
you bring 30, and the other school brings 30. Will it be 60 people there tomorrow, actually on the course at one time?
I'll possibly bring about 24, 25. I think Indio has a little bit less. So in the boys race, let's just say it's probably gonna be about 15. Okay. 15-ish each race, 15 to 20, I'm going to assume.
Okay.
It won't is it a time thing? I'm so sorry, Sean. Is it a time thing, Coach, in this case, or does everybody leave the starting line at the same time?
Great question, because that's part of the change that we're going to have to do. We're going to separate them on the track, and that's the whole part of starting on the track. They're going to have that whole 100 meters or so to kind of separate. We'll start maybe Indio in lanes 1 and 3, and then we'll separate a few lanes, and Shadow Hills will be in 6 and 8. And then we're going to separate, we'll have our top kids in front, and then 6 feet back, we'll have a few more, and so on until. So think of a 5K. Not everybody's at the line. There's still people scattered back at the start. That's how it's going to be.
Now, I've got a quick question in regards to the event and so forth. I've seen different sports happening around the country. I've got family that lives in the East Coast, and they're having these events, and sometimes the kids are wearing masks and sometimes they're not. What is the protocol for tomorrow and so forth with the cross-country meet? So
the kids and coaches have to have masks the entire time. Kids have to come into the stadium, onto the campus with a mask. We warm up, and when we're stretching, they have to have a mask. But once we get to the start line, have a mask on. As soon as they take off and get some separation, say 5-10 seconds in, they are able to remove it because
that's good. Yeah.
there's no way, it's not safe to be competing like that with the mask on. Though some still do. Some are comfortable with it and they're good with it, but they can remove the mask as soon as they start.
Coach, do you see do you see track actually coming after cross country later in the year? What do you see as the rollout, or what are you hearing, or what are you guys working on as far as other sports and just what remains in this season?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't comment too much on that because I don't know, but I see.
Fair enough.
I see what tier track is in. It's in the same tier as cross country. So I'm assuming if it was a fall sport, we'd have track right now. We do deal with implements. We have the disc and starting blocks and things like that can get touched. So we're gonna have to learn how to sanitize everything. We can't share discus and things like that. So it's gonna be a lot different. But we have a positive outlook on a track season this year.
So I'll tell you, I know that Coach Shipley talked a little bit about how these seasons going from cross country, they're going to bring track back on. Coach Walsh is actually back in backstage. He actually said he could answer that question in a little bit more detail. So I'm going to bring him on here. Coach Walsh, if you want to give us a little bit more detail about the track scene. I know that Coach Shipley touched upon it, but if you can give us some more detail.
Well, they're cross country ends 1 week and track starts the next week. Going from that season 1 from season 2 in the new adopted CIF sports calendar. But there are procedures and guidelines in place for track and field to come back. We just have to make sure the metrics get to that point where we're able to compete. One of the things with our cross country meet is there were a couple other schools within Southern California and within Riverside County that competed. So we reached out to the ADs of those schools to get their guidelines and those procedures and see how we could take them and mold them to what we can do here in Desert Sands.
Okay.
So we weren't the first, but we're going to get it right with what we're doing moving forward. It's the health and safety of our students, of our staff, our coaches, and everybody involved. When we moved into phase 2, we are able to use some sport-specific equipment. It's just sanitized between touches, sanitized between individuals, and things like that. So for a sport like track and field, I think moving forward, there is some light at the end of that tunnel for us to resume or go back to competition.
Well, you guys will certainly learn a lot tomorrow during that race. I'm sure, feedback from the public and Desert Sands and everybody, interest in making sure that it's safe and good. It's safe for everybody, but at the same time, so important, as we know, for athletes and for us to exercise. So, there's so much at stake here. But I know that you guys will get together and you'll review all of this. How far will that go? Will all of the Desert Sands ADs be talking tomorrow about your specific race tomorrow?
Actually, we already have a meeting set up on Tuesday for everybody.
There you go.
And brief not just the Desert Sands ADs, but our district office staff as well, just to make sure we can go over, okay, this is what worked for us. This is what we're looking to do in potentially our next meets that we'll be able to host.
Okay, excellent. Well, once again, Mr. Walsh, thank you for taking the time to join us and so forth. I think you guys are doing some great things over there at Shadow Hills, and I guess I was trying to push the event over there. Sorry about that. That's what I thought I heard and so forth. But good luck tomorrow, Coach.
All right, no problem. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, I had a quick
ahead.
question.
Yep.
I know that in the past, all of our sports events gave the kids a pathway to getting scholarships and whatever to, other athletic colleges. With the pandemic and how we've been sort of slowed down, is that still an option that they'll have that advancement because we're on such restrictions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What a great question, because that has been one of our struggles, especially for seniors. When I talk to coaches from other colleges, they want to know their times. They want to know their marks. What did they do? I mean, sure, everybody's a great kid. Everybody has, good grades. I can talk about that all day long, but if I'm talking about athletics, the coach wants to know their marks. I mean, that's one of the first questions. So this year, I don't have anything to give them. So I'm going off of last year, and sometimes, hey, they were a sophomore or a junior with good marks, but what did they do their senior year? So this is a great, hey, just being able to get these times right now at this meet, and then later on in the season, we're going to go back to 3 miles because they want to see the 3 mile time. The 2 mile time's not relevant. It's just a good starter. And all teams do this. They all start with 2 miles, even during the regular season in the past. So
Okay.
that's not a change.
And I would think that it's really important that the competition, I would think, would bring out the best times ultimately. So yes, you could be out there running and you could do it on your own and maybe get PRs, but it does seem that that competition is going to really bring the best times out. And I think placement is also important in this regard, for coaches at college level, because a first is important too, or a second or third, because times in each course is, could be different. And so as a result, that competition is also critical.
Absolutely.
I agree completely. And Coach Tamble, I know that you've got a busy day ahead of you, preparing for the event tomorrow and so forth. Before we let you go, I want to let you know that our very own Mary Alexander's watching, and over at Shadow Hills ASB, and she just wanted to let you know that you rock. Thank you for all that you do. She's one of our. She's been on our show a couple of times.
Yeah, she likes to be on your show. In fact, she sends us the links anytime she's on your show. But when she's not on, she doesn't send us the link.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Too funny. Well, Coach, thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow, and we'll see you later.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so some great things going on there with Shadow Hills and Indio High School. Craig, what do you think the people at CoachellaValley.com are going to think about this?
Well, first of all, you can follow that young man, that coach, on Twitter. He's active on Twitter. And in fact, the media picked up on some of his stuff on Twitter originally. And so follow it there. Social media and everything that we're doing out here. What's so cool about this year is no spectators for this event, but we will have media and some live. We're trying to work, of course, along with all the protocols and the things that we have to do as media, trying to be there at that, beginning, the starting line, just to be able to show the best we can to as many people, students, teachers, parents, of course, and spectators. So even though we won't have live spectation there's going to be an opportunity for some of it, obviously, to be seen. And we hope we just capture that environment. Yeah. It's very exciting to see these things happening in the Coachella Valley and move the dialogue along. We've been talking about coronavirus and COVID and what isn't working or what's been closed for so long. It's nice to move the discussion along to things that are happening and that are opening back up. We're seeing that throughout the Coachella Valley as the stay-at-home order got lifted just a little bit ago at the end of January. Restaurants and things are opening. We mentioned Desert X coming back. And so this is very critical for our economy, for everybody within the Coachella Valley. And also we're big tourism. So this is a good thing all the way around for students to be back running and doing the things that they're doing and just to see this moving forward. So that's how I feel about it. What about you?
Mary, you got some thoughts on that?
Because I live in the sports world up here, I think it's really, really good for these kids to get out because it gives them the energy. They have something else to think about. They're not glued to their TVs or their phones or their laptops, and they actually are outside and they're actually talking with other people. And I think they are it gives them a chance to be, I think, civilized, that they can actually work with people and be competitive. And I know in the culinary program, the kids liked it when we had a competition. It was like, let's get this, let's get that. Even right now, I'm doing a thing at the resort we have an inspection coming up, and the competition between the kitchens is really fun. And I think people need that competition. I think it's good for them.
I agree completely. And I love that we're having these events and we're coming back to normalcy. And as people like at CoachellaValley.com see that we're coming back to normalcy, maybe that'll help encourage more people to come here as tourists and so forth and see that we are getting back to normal here. It was fun this morning when I went into one of our community partners with Desert Sands is Maxie's Grill right in front of Walmart. And I love going in to see George. And every time I see him, I say, hey, how are things going? How are things going? And this morning, his patio was packed. Patio was packed at 7:30 in the morning, and that just tells me that things are getting back to normal. So it is good to see that, and a lot of fun.
Well, the creativity, Mary and Sean, both with businesses, and then you just see the ads, connected, and everybody working so hard. I think to solve the problem, solve the issue, to make it work. And that's the big change in the discussion. Because before it used to be, we're afraid, we're not sure, we can't do anything, we need to figure out what to stop. But now the discussion's gone to how do we make it work? What do we have to do? And that's super powerful.
You know, along those lines, I want to say thank you to both you guys. You guys helped to make it work for community engagement and us getting out there in the community. You know, Chef Mary, if it weren't for you and I having a couple conversations over coffee, this never would have come about, and we would have never connected with Craig as much as we have. So thank you. You know, it's all about being creative, and I love that the athletic directors have been thinking outside the box too.
Hey, you guys just finished your 50th. Oh, go ahead.
I've always felt that you're on this world to make a difference. You know, and if it means you say hello to someone and they're smiling, or you open a door, or you tell someone they've done a good job, or you lead them in the right direction, we need to make a difference. And I think that's important. And it makes you feel good in the daytime, you know, when something has been accomplished and they say thank you and the result is good. And I think we need to work on stepping up there and making a difference and paying something forward.
Well, you know what, Sean? One of the neat things about coming out or this pandemic is look at the growth of your own digital reach and the things that you guys are doing. So adversity can sometimes create change that can really make a difference. And this is something that's happening for real. Social media, doing these things. I mean, you hear Zoom meetings for athletic directors. I mean, that's just crazy, right? I mean, those guys can barely sit still.
Yeah, definitely. So, Craig, I know that you do this every time when you have your show, and to make sure that your followers and so forth get their messages up here. We had a Nelly Franco earlier say good morning.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we also had, let's see here, Vicky Lee Mills, who just gave a little clap sign.
Hey, Vicky, thank you so much.
And then we also had a Jeff Rodriguez say hi, hey, directly to you, Craig. So I want to
that's great. Hey, Jeff.
Highlight all
that's the fantastic part.
Yeah.
And look at what you're doing, Sean. Look how far you've come in your own engineering, job security, and other things that you're doing. No, it's really great. I mean, I know I'm jesting, but this is my world, and the lives and stuff. And so I'm so excited to see Desert Sands Educational Foundation taking the lead and really pressing forward. I love that you're syndicating this across different schools. We hope that this could be seen throughout the district, and other districts, of course, join in at some particular point in time for this particular community. Because everything that we talk about here is so important. Teachers want to know, people want to know, I want to know. I have no students in any of those schools, but I'm so curious about the intricacy, right? 2-mile racing, they're going to, separate, do it a little bit different. All these little things kind of intrigue me. And so this is a great platform, I think, to be able to share these things.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, definitely true. Well, Craig, you know what? Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and close out today. I'm going to actually close out by putting this back up on screen again. This is an event for all of our class of 2021. We want to make sure that you get the opportunity to sign up and participate in Dr. Quentin Egson. We talk about all the sports and so forth going on in the desert. Boys and Girls Club has been going on nonstop since it started, and I think it'd be great for as many of our seniors as possible to hear his story and to have that opportunity. But there's the information to sign up. But once again, you guys, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. It was a great episode. Like I say, go ahead and sign up for that. But, the beautiful thing is we also have Quentin coming on with us on Tuesday. Mary,
That'd be awesome.
I get to share that with you. We got Quentin coming on with us on Tuesday to kind of highlight the event that's coming up on the 18th. But Craig, Mary, you guys have a great day. CoachellaValley.com and Desert Sands Unified School District. Make sure you wear your mask and wash your hands. We'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
See you guys later.